episode, right?
Yeah. Hey, here we are.
We live?
Yeah, we live. We get ready to go on there. But yeah, you want to talk about it? Because
I'm ready. Don't get me playing.
It's right on in the
It's a question. It's a question. You know, like,
I kind of got a problem with all that stuff.
I don't want them to.
yeah, you don't be in it.
I don't want them to either.
Mr. Gibbs,
Yeah,
Mr. Gibbs.
yeah, we're going to get it started. Just give me a second because we Facebook Live. Where is that?
Facebook Live, you know what's happening. 95.3 FM, WHGE Radio, the Open Eye Radio Show. Tuning in right now. It's on. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Let me get my theme music on here. All right.
I'm obsessed with fruit.
Fruit is the key to living.
95.3 WHGE FM. Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. Are you ready to get that third eye decalcified? Are you ready to get it opened up? Oh yeah, here we go. I'm gonna tell you like I always tell you. Call your mama, call your cousin, because today's show, as usual, is gonna be hot. And as usual, we are Facebook Live. Joining me on the air, of course, is my partner in consciousness, Mr. Nsoromma.
Yeah.
Waiting in the wings is the beautiful Miss Lorrine Vlard.
Hi.
Hey, she's over there, y'all.
In the wings, waiting in the
Waiting
wings.
in the wings. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Hey, yeah. The Open Eye is brought to you by the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, the founders and builders of the Pearl Center, the Veterans Pacific Apartment Building. Today on the Open Eye, I'm going to start with a request, actually. Nikki Giovanni speaking to our resilience. I'm going to start right there. Style has a profound meaning to Black Americans. If we can't drive, we will invent walks, and the world will envy the dexterity of our feet. If we can't have ham, we will boil chitlins. If we are given rotten peaches, we will make cobblers. If given scraps, we will make quilts. Take away our drums, and we will clap our hands. We prove the human spirit will prevail. We will take what we have to make what we need. We need confidence in our knowledge of who we are. That's from Nikki Giovanni, speaking to our resilience as a people.
Yeah, Miss Giovanni on point with that.
Oh yeah, Nikki was no joke. Let me turn this a little bit so we can get something there. Yeah, because last week a couple people complained they couldn't see me.
Y'all complaining? Oh, y'all complaining?
Yeah.
Well, tell the typers. Tell us when it's going on. Don't call us later on. Tell us now.
Tell us right now.
Tune in.
Big time.
Facebook Live.
You know, that's where we are. Oh, and like I always tell you, you don't have to wait until Saturday morning, you know, to listen to WHGE 95.3 FM. We have a full schedule of programming for you. Of course, like I said, Saturday morning, 11 a.m., you know where you're supposed to be, right here on the Open Eye.
Right, y'all.
Yeah, right here. The Open Eye is followed at 12 noon by Miss Lorraine Vlard with her smoking. Yeah, her smoking. Oh, you're getting an education there. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Later on in the day at 4 o'clock from 4 to 5, you have Ed Johnson's Sports Zone. You want to know about sports? He knows about every sport there is. It's amazing, man. I mean, you know, most of the time you think black people just don't know about, you know, football and basketball. No, not Ed. Ed tell you about everything from golf to tennis and man, hockey,
whatever,
any sport, he got you. You know, that's followed by the Weekend Review with Alan Lawrence. If you don't know what's going on, Alan will definitely hit you to what's going on. And of course, every day at 6 p.m., that's daily, our illustrious leader, Mr. Harmon Carey, with History, Facts, and Reflections. Sundays, we have Fix and Addiction. And Wednesdays, we used to, now on Wednesdays, host Bonnie Williams hosts her show, Real Love. It was every other Wednesday, but she got such a great response, you don't want to miss it. She got such a great response, she's now on every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. Like I said, we got a great lineup of programming for you. So make sure you just turn on your radio, keep it tuned to WHGE 95.3 FM.
The views and opinions expressed on the Open Eye are those of the host, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM or its sponsor, the Development Center for this day. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to belong to any religion, ethnic group, company, or individual.
I often say, I met God, she raised me. I'm referring to my mother when I say that.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. My mother was an extraordinary woman whom I loved dearly. She was not just my mother, she was my best friend. She set my foot on the path of knowledge, made sure I knew what I needed to know. I'm sure many of you out there have strong feelings about your mother and how important she was in your life.
True.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
She was the most important part of my life. She kept a lot of people from getting killed.
I heard that
with me, because I go home on go and she'd calm me down. So she saved a lot of lives with me.
I heard that, brother.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom.
Yes, sir. I definitely feel you, say. Rest in peace, Mom. And I know there's a lot of you, your mother's here. Cherish her while she's here.
But I don't understand how, I read in a couple females and they don't get along with their mom. I think I don't see how that can happen, but then again I can. Yeah. I mean, to argue with your mom, I'll tell you what, I'll beat you up.
Oh my goodness.
Get out my face because I don't care about you.
Oh man.
I never was able to even raise my voice like that to my peoples, even if I was right.
No. I can remember my sister challenged my mom once. Notice I said once. Oh man, she didn't do that again.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. But like I said, cherish your mother, especially if she's here. Don't wait until she's gone to, bring the flowers. Bring the flowers tomorrow on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And for those of us whose mother isn't here, we're gonna have a little minute of silence. Reflect on it. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yaga! I wrote this song around the time my mother passed. It took me a long time to listen to it. It's called Don't Run Around With No Socks. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Don't run around. That's everybody. I used to slide around. Oh my God.
I like it. It's different.
Nah, see, that's the catches too. When you have, see, some music is timeless, and you have to make timeless music.
Yeah.
Music is situations to me. I try to put the person in the situation or put the topic in the situation that's happening throughout life. To everybody, it's like everybody need toilet paper.
Right.
It's like that's the way I try to make the music.
I heard that. I hope y'all hear that out here. Facebook Live.
Yeah. I forgot because I don't.
Yeah, because you don't see us on the screen. But yeah, we still there.
We still spinning.
Yeah,
that's right. Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, indeed. Happy Mother's Day,
right.
Sherry.
Good morning, Sherry. What's good?
Sherry.
How you doing?
She's always on there.
Yeah.
Where's that
Who
other
else
one?
out there? Hey, who else out there representing with us? Come on
Let us
now.
know you there.
Quit playing. Who else
Bonna be
representing?
on there soon. Bonna be on there soon.
Oh yeah, my man, he be in there.
But I want you to get close because they said this one is
That's my
hard.
move now.
Oh,
Yo, son, I'm gonna tell you what's up.
Oh, this is
Wow. Oh, mercy.
Oh,
Lord of mercy.
Lord of mercy.
WHGE 95.3 FM. Yeah, I recently saw something in the news that made me a little sad. And
Word? What was that about? Talk to me. Talk to your homie. Talk to your homie. Talk to your homie.
What happened in my old neighborhood on the very block that I grew up on? And that was some young boy in the alleyway, and I know just where the alleyway is. I used to run through that alley.
Right.
Shooting up the neighborhood out of the alleyway. Injured a woman in the neighborhood, what have you. So now my old neighborhood used to be a tree-lined street, and it was really the epitome of an African village because everybody looked out for each other.
I mean, when they started, cutting down the trees in our neighborhood, I knew it was something that was getting ready to come about and go on.
Change the atmosphere.
Right. Change the atmosphere, keep the air dirty, because trees clean the air.
Right.
Trees produce air, good air, clean air.
That's right.
For, like Mr. Vlard.
Vlard.
I had to blend it in. Listen, yo, smoking and trees, they don't go together.
That's right. They don't.
So,
we killed them too.
Right. So, yo, it's crazy. Your hood
is, man.
Shooting up
my whole hood, bro. It's just sickening to me, man. And I know there's a few people like Ed Johnson that comes on the Sports Zone. He grew up in that neighborhood. He's like a neighborhood big brother, older brother. And what have you. He grew up in that neighborhood. You go to that neighborhood now, like I said, the trees are gone. The area is all trashy. People don't give a damn what their neighborhood looks like no more.
Or their neighbors in that aspect.
Yeah.
We used to, if we was painting our porch, y'all would be forced to paint y'all porch.
Right.
And then the next porch, and then the whole block would go, and everybody be out doing their porch. It took a week to get all the whole side done.
But everybody out there,
right. And I mean, that unity is like been just so dampened and
decimated.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. It's really.
And let me say something too. Insurance wise, you bring your area down, guess what? Your car, that beautiful car you're driving, is going to cost a little bit more because insurance base all of these things that we do on your price that you're going to pay premium. That's the certified side. Okay?
So it's a flip side to their madness and everything.
Yeah.
And
it costs you.
Right. All the way around.
All the way around. All the way around.
Well, it costs us as blacks. Because that's
more.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, that's messy, man.
So if your neighborhood's not safe, see, and this is the thing about poverty, and about living in rough neighborhoods and this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's expensive to be poor.
It is.
It's expensive to be bottling. We pay more.
We pay the price.
We pay the
Trust
price
me,
for it.
I know.
I heard that.
I know the premiums.
Right.
What do you mean on the next side of town? I'm just 3 blocks away. How come that insurance is more money?
Yeah.
Because they shoot it up.
Yeah.
Right.
And whatever I want in that car, I take it. Guess what? They add all of that up.
Right. The
3
assumption
blocks
that
away.
you will be robbed, or the assumption that you'll be shot. Benz, though you in this area, you like 6 minutes away, it's gonna cost you $6,000 extra.
Jeez.
And that's how they calculate in there. You know, and it's only designed to attack the poverty-rized areas. That's one of my words in my slang area.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
Coming soon.
It's called property and casualty. Check it out. I know. I'm licensed property and casualty.
Moving on, I am a member of the old Black Press. I used to write for the Wilmington Spectator and the Wilmington Gazette. That's why it's so important what we do here at WHGE 95.3 FM, the only Black-owned radio station in the state. Okay.
Now that itself should tell you something.
Right there.
We all need to get, you know, more unified and start supporting each other. When it's 5 mayor candidates going after a mayor position and it's 1 white mayor that's going after the position, our votes are so spread out among our people. Why we can't take them 3 or 4 people that's running and they come together to bring all of them votes to the one candidate. And we ain't doing that. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, I'm gonna tell you something about that, brother.
The Big H was talking to me today. You know what I'm saying? And he was schooling me on a lot of stuff that, you know, I see, but I didn't really care about. You know what I'm saying? So I'm understanding that we have to care more about certain things, voting, and being able to vote, keeping your name straight so that you can go vote.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. And how in the hell does a majority Black city have a white conservative mayor, who is nothing more but a professional developer, who is, you know, just on the road to gentrification? I'm gonna tell you how that happens. Like Nsoromma was saying earlier, just a minute ago. Okay, we had 5 Black candidates running for mayor. Okay, and 1 Hispanic lady. Those 5 candidates were there to split the vote. Don't get that mixed. You're not gonna hear the truth of this from a lot of people. But they were there to split the vote to ensure the win for the white candidate. How you like that? How you like that?
Messy.
Exactly what it is.
Messy.
Yes, sir, brother. That's exactly what it is. And you know, when you get stuff that messy, you know exactly what you get.
A messy situation.
Wall of confusion.
Facebook, you hear these things?
Oh, I got some more for them.
Yo, you got a question, call in. You know, text us. You know, link up. Quit playing. Hit us up.
Hit us up.
You got a question? You want to know some information?
And you know, I think some of our Facebook fans might be a little spoiled because they know we're going to post it later in the week.
Okay.
On Facebook. That's cool too. That's cool too. But I would advise you to catch this information firsthand while it's fresh. That's about your you know, I got a little bragging rights here. I just sold this. Okay. I just sold that. Explicit Notions of a Born Rebel by Patrice Gibbs. Yeah, I just sold
officially an author. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want to be an author, we can help you do that too. And we can put you on the right path. So link up with us so we can give you some of this important information that we have all the time. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't play with yourself. Come get intellectual fed.
Big time. WHGE 95.3 FM. Yeah, the mess that's going on don't be nothing to lead us to nothing but a ball of confusion. You know, the importance of controlling our media is something that a lot of us really don't realize, and that includes especially our Black leaders. Channel 28 was at one time, the home where you was going to find all the information in the world about what was going on in our community.
Right.
Okay?
I remember Channel 28.
Yeah. Well, the organization that was running Channel 28 was a Black-led organization called LAPA. Okay, I forget exactly what LAPA. Oh, Lease Access Preservation Association. That's what LAPA was. I got it right here.
Okay.
Okay, and they were the operators of Comcast Channel 28. Now, LAPA paid rent at the channel's Lancaster Avenue studio until last month when his contract ran out, and then that contract was awarded to what's the guy's name? With Ivan Thomas.
Ivan Thomas. I know Ivan Thomas. I know that's. Yeah. I know Ivan Thomas. That's one of my buddies. He's a real good guy.
Oh my.
He oh my.
Oh my.
Hey, already?
He messy.
He messy.
Oh, he messy. Look, Ivan was sitting on the board of the Lease Access Preservation Association, LAPA, which was running Channel 28. Right. All right. Their contract ran out. They were the ones putting on the shows that were, you know, gospel, Black history. Right. You know, bringing on the politicians and putting them on the hot seat, criticizing the city when it got messy and what have you. Yeah.
And he was,
and he was sitting on the board. He left the board of LAPA with his own company. He went against LAPA.
Ivan.
Yeah, Ivan.
Yo, it's your boy, Ivan.
Yeah.
Listen. Listen.
Yeah, listen, Ivan.
Call your boy, man.
Yeah, it's too late. He didn't get his dirt. He did. Oh yeah, he didn't get his dirt now. He left the LAPA organization and formed DE. Well, he already had DETV in place. Right, I
know about that too.
Yeah, he did it on the contract to run Channel 28. He didn't have his application together. His application wasn't straight. And he had this thing about, you know, well, his slogan with DETV is, I'm going to bring positive news to the city. Well, that sounds real good, but if there's some messy crap going on out here, you need to tell the people about it. Right. You know, well, bringing positive news to the city can often mean censorship, which means that, so if it's something that the mayor or the president of the city council don't really want out there, and the people on Channel 28 is busting them up on the crap that they doing and the, you know, shenanigans they putting down.
They ain't turning into a puppet.
Oh yeah, buddy. And and he ain't had his stuff together because guess what? Now LAPA, even though they did get a grant to help pay for the space that they use, you know, for Channel 28. Right. Okay, they paid a nice bulk of that rent themselves. Oh, Wilmington may start paying rent for the controversial new TV operator, DETV, Ivan Thomas. He ain't even gonna pay the damn rent. See, this when, come on, brother, you ain't paying the rent. You not paying
that's
the
why
rent.
That's why they can step in and do and say and make you do what they want you to do because they think they got that power over you of controlling you. Because I help take care of you, like the government. I can come and take your crib. If something going on, I can put you out your house. Because listen, get independent and do your own thing, man. You know,
check it. A proposal before City Council would have the city take over the lease and allow Thomas to use the space for free. Now, if you're getting free space from the city, you sure as hell ain't gonna go on and say, hey, the mayor is gentrifying our neighborhoods, or have anybody else on there saying anything to that nature.
But I mean, like this radio show, we have no problem with, you know, somebody coming in here having a different opinion about how we feel or think about whatever it is we're talking about at that time. We invite that, matter of fact, so we can bring conversation and bring other thoughts to the avenue where we're going at. We have to have that to be able to make it a better situation. We need both sides. So if you're going to be dealing with, you know, just the one side and the aspect of just these particular rich people that don't have no idea about being in poverty, you'll never get anything done because you really don't know what's being done. You ain't talking to the people that's being done to.
No, you're not. No, you're not. And you know, when it came up, you know, about him getting the contract, he stood before City Council and made an impassioned plea an impassioned plea to get the contract. Oh, he was crying crocodile tears. Man, sit your ass down with that mess. The hell's wrong with you, brother? Your company ain't even real. Your LLC was looked up, and come to find out, you're not even a listed corporation.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yo, link up with us. We can help you get that, though. I mean, because we don't discriminate. We help everybody try to be better.
Yes. Come to find out, BETV is a fictitious business. It's fictitious. Ain't even real.
Yo,
ain't even real.
Come on, man. See, we do research. I'm sorry, though, but we do our business. We mean our business.
That's what we do. You know?
Open Eye Radio. You ain't gonna get it like this nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
Yo, I hit me up. It's your boy.
Yeah. 95.3 FM.
Yaga.
The Open Eye.
Try to clean that.
Yo, listen, man, hit me, man. I didn't know you was doing it like that.
In the,
You need to get everybody you know involved in helping it become a more rounded.
you all in the tube, and you know it's nothing you can say. You was like, all in the video, YouTube.
Oh, and good morning, Dorothy. Dorothy has joined us.
Word, good morning.
Yeah, that's a good friend of mine.
Oh my
Me
God.
and Dorothy go back to teenager.
Teenager.
Yeah.
Wow, oh, that's some years.
Wait a minute.
He said, wait a minute. Yo, that's what's up, though.
Some years. No, but yeah, me and Dorothy go back
Teenagers?
since we're teenagers. Yeah.
Wow, that's real relationship.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we went to the same church together. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes, he did. But we back live on the air, WHGE 95.3 FM. Look, I'm going to tell you what, Ivan, we ain't bust you up to make you mad. We bust you up to make you right.
That's right. Link up with us. See how I can help you. You know, I'm always with you, whatever, however it go. But, yo, my man did some research on you. So, definitely link up with me so I can probably help you do what it is we got to do. And not worry about all the other stuff that's going on in my city. Yaga. Yaga.
But yeah, we're half hour in already, y'all. Don't take long. Oh yeah, we gotta get with this. Yeah, we gotta get with this. I'm gonna pass some things. The song on the air right now, for those of you on Facebook Live, is My City by Nsoromma.
True that, true that. Gra, gra, gra.
I saw you.
Okay, cool.
WHGE 95.3 FM. You know, there have been 15 school shootings in the U.S. so far this year. It's May. It's May. 15 school shootings where someone was hurt or killed. You know, now the last one of the students is, you know, he's a hero. He jumped, he stopped the gunman, he jumped on the gunman, and allowed other kids to get away. I don't want children to be a hero and lose their lives. Let's get some gun control in these schools. Now, Florida decided the best way to deal with this was to have teachers have the right to carry firearms.
Listen, teachers the right to carry firearms. What happened when the student beat the teacher up and take their gun? How dumb is that? That's like dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's really dumb.
Okay. Now, we're feared, and black boys are feared by white females, no matter what age they are, for some reason. If you got this white female, and you know, little Raheem got his math question wrong on the board, and then the teacher chastised him, and then he came back on it. Is the teacher gonna pull out and start blasting?
Might, because we really should be scared of them anyway.
You damn right.
You know,
what kind of mess is that?
That's this is crazy, man. I mean, they don't want nothing better for our kids.
No.
Nothing.
No.
What can improve the knowledge and the well-being of our kids? They don't want no part of that. They want to keep making that cycle, a prison cycle, to lead from school not being able to read, to becoming a slave while you're in school not being able to read, to being forced to be a slave in the prison system once you get out of school from not reading. And it's all set up. They like
the school to prison pipeline.
Right. I can't believe that I'm saying how true or how real that particular saying is. But that is the realest saying I ever heard.
As a matter of fact, some of these prison industrial, private prisons and what have you, have think tanks and studies where they start identifying kids in the 3rd grade that are going to wind up in prison. How you going to tell some 3rd grader is going to make mistakes in his life to the extent, well, see what they're planning on? They're planning on their plantation. Remember what Nellie Fuller teaches us. If you don't understand global white supremacy, everything else will confuse you. Global white supremacy has a plan. It has a plan for black people specifically. It will exploit us. If it can't exploit us, it will enslave us. If it can't enslave us, it will kill us.
And the whole thing in knowing the answer to that is really knowing your knowledge. And like I asked you earlier, brother, and before this governmental institution or corporation came in effect, I was hitting on you about the Moorish
Science Temple.
Yeah, the Moorish Science Temple, and the way that they, before this government came into effect, didn't want to be involved in their law, and they stayed with the law of the land.
Right.
So you know anything about that? What's good with that?
Okay.
Give me some information on that, because I was thinking about really.
Here's the thing. The Moorish Science Temple
on my last name.
Okay. The Moorish Science Temple actually was founded by Noble Drew Ali in the early 1900s.
Right.
And what he did was he declared that African Americans were actually Moors, and that they should claim their sovereignty as Moors. Okay, which means they would not be part of the American corporation.
Right.
That they would be a separate nation unto themselves.
Right.
Okay. And the thing about that is there's a lot involved with that, and you really have to do your homework, or you could get jammed up. For one thing, claiming your sovereignty is not something that the American corporation is going to be happy with you about. So you really, really have to study this deeply before you jump out there with it.
Or you can go to jail. You can study this and then go to jail on living in the society of what they built for that whole plan. That, I mean, the way I look at it, either you want to learn how to get out of it, or you want to be a part of their plantation thing that they got going on.
Right.
So,
but what basically you're going to be doing is putting yourself in a position where you don't, quote unquote, participate in the society. Now, a lot comes along with that. Okay, yes, there are major benefits to that. For instance, the way you're able to deal with police force, the way you're able to deal with courts, the way you're able to deal with taxes. Okay, but the flip side of that, especially if you don't know what you're doing, is you're taking yourself out of society. So if you need social services, if your kids,
they ain't about nothing anyway. Go ahead.
No. If your kids have to take part in the educational system, okay.
They're giving jelly sandwiches out now, right now, man.
I understand that.
I mean,
but if you're not qualified to homeschool your children, which a lot of people aren't, then you're jamming yourself up and you're denying your children to participate. Look, Participation
that sounds like a double-edged sword
It
going
is,
on.
exactly.
It sounds like it's some double-edged going on.
It is. It's some double-edged going on. Now, here's another thing. The Moors will help you with your application for a fee.
Everything costs.
Yeah,
everything costs. It's costing right now, you know, us to be here running this electric.
Yeah.
So everything
costs.
Now, if you want to be or you want to be bamboozled in your costs, you know what I'm saying? You want to be smart about decision makings that you make. Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
So when you fill out this application, you know, and they help you with fill out this application, the thing is, you don't actually need to pay them to do it. You can declare and, you know, get your sovereignty yourself. Now here's the catch about that. You're filing an application, right, to ask to be the U.S. government for your sovereignty back. Right. Okay. Here's where I have a problem with that. You don't ask for power, you take it. Because if you're asking the entity,
they took it from you.
If you're asking the entity that's denying you power for power, power concedes nothing voluntarily, ever. Right. Okay. And you're asking the very people holding you down to give you the power to have your sovereignty. Okay. Believe me, there's going to be a catch with that. You can believe me, there is going to be a catch with that, because first of all, they hate that. As soon as you show up in court with that, you know, this, you know, declaration of your sovereignty, right, and what have you, if you're not very sharp and very well versed in legalese, the language of legalities and what have you, right, okay, they're looking to jam you up. You can believe that. They look at you to jam you up.
But they doing that anyway.
Yeah, they doing it anyway, but they have a stronger motivation. At a worse mass level right now. Right. They're doing it right now. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So the only way that you can fight that back is take your sovereignty, like you're saying, right, and most likely fight the people that's put you in a situation that bamboozle your parents to make them think you need a birth certificate instead of a birth registration. Right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's a lot of stuff that goes along between that. Right. Right. Now, here's the thing. All right. I'm a student of Sun Tzu's Art of War. Right. And what I understand is you don't destroy an army or an entity. You take it whole from the inside out. And that's what our people need to understand, is we need to take it whole from the inside out. Okay. America is at its most vulnerable internally. Right. Okay. If we are politically smart, you can be lucky sometimes, but you can be smart all the time. That's right. All the time. You know, if we smarten up, unify, and understand how weak America is internally, we can take this thing from the inside out. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. We don't even want to take it. We want to step outside of it and start our own everything. You know what I'm saying? Like they went down there and burned down the black city, Black Wall Street. Like the Black Wall Street. Yeah. I mean, once we're able to do that, we got to make sure that they don't do that. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's why power concedes nothing. You know, and we must be in a place where we do not have a problem taking our power, because it's there to be had. That's why. Never go back to Georgia. And that's why I'll never go back to Georgia. I'll never go back to Georgia. Yo, y'all listening to these records subliminally? Yo, listen. I don't play the music for nothing, y'all. Hey, yo, Morning Radio, yo. This is Morning Radio. Miss Bob. Miss Bob, what's good, homie? Yeah, big odds, brother. Big odds. Oh, yo, did you just hear that last comment, B? Yo, I hope you did. Oh my God. Yeah, hey, yo, and again, if you got any questions or some information that you want to know about, hit us up. WHGE Radio, 95.3 FM, every Saturday, 11 to 12. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. You know? You ready, Miss Vlard?
I am.
All right.
I'm like,
I'm
which
ready. Great for your
segment?
music. Great for your music up.
Okay. Opioids part 2.
Okay.
I only have a page and a half. So
All right.
that's good.
Cool, cool.
I'm gonna drown them out. I'm just gonna hit them up with the truth.
All right. Ms. McGard, ready to come in? Ready to put our music on?
Hi everyone. Happy Mother's Day.
WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye. Those of you that are open eye listeners know that song is called Early Summer, and you know what time it is when you hear that song. It's time to travel down the organic path with Lorrine. Good morning, Lorrine.
Good morning, Pat. Happy Mother's Day again to everyone, all the mothers. Even if you're not a biological mother, if you nurture young people, whatever age they are, you're still considered a mother. So happy Mother's Day. All right, so today I'm going to talk about opioids again. I wanted to just go through it last week, but I see there's a need to really, really go through opioids. So this is opioids series part 2. And remember, April 27th was the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. But what I want to do is just slow it down a little bit and really, really talk about opioids and the different components, the other drugs that goes with this. Last week, Pat, remember we talked about the opium poppy plant.
Okay.
We talked about the origin, where it was grown, originally in the lower Mesopotamia area, Samaria, the Assyrians, and then Egypt, and then made its way to China, and then China brought it back over when they came for work in the U.S., and they brought their habits, and so that's how the U.S., partially how the U.S. became exposed to the opium smoking, and now recently in Mexico, in Colombia. Okay, so once again, so we talked about last week that opioids is a narcotic prescribed by a doctor with written prescription. That's the original form, used to help with severe pain. So some of you suffer with severe pain, whether it be from accidents, car accidents, whatever it may be, the pain is severe. So this one is prescribed by a doctor. Okay, it's very important to catch that part again. So I'm going over this again because it's very needed, and because of the epidemic that's transpired here with opioid. Okay, so opioid use does not have to be long-term, and you don't want it to be long-term. Even a short amount of time can cause addiction, a short amount, and too often overdose, said Mayo Clinic staff. Okay, so the Mayo Clinic staff they wrote this segment, this little piece, what I'm about to say, because they see this day in and day out. What happens to these patients that comes through, they see the addictions and habits and just the illness of this particular addiction. So this is what they said. Anyone who takes opioids is at risk of developing addiction. Your personal history and the length of time you use opioids play a role, but it's impossible to predict who's vulnerable to eventual dependence on and abuse of these drugs. Legal or illegal, stolen and shared, these drugs are responsible for the majority of the overdose deaths in the U.S. today.
Wow.
This particular drug is responsible for the majority of overdose deaths in the U.S. today. That is why I wanted to slow it down and talk about this a little bit more.
And that's a big pharmaceutical that's ODing the people.
Oh yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
I know, but last week we talked about, you know, on God's green earth, this really was a good plant. It still is, but we took it a little bit further, and so that's why I'm breaking down the cause and the effects. Okay, so what is addiction? Let's really go into that. I'm going to give you the meaning of addiction, and then I will give you simply the doctor's version of addiction. Okay, addiction is a condition in which something that started as pleasurable, okay, how it feels like something you can't live without. You just can't live without it. Okay, now here's the doctor's definition. Drug addiction as an irresistible craving for a drug out of control and compulsive use of the drug and continued use of the drug despite repeated harmful consequences. That's the doctor's definition of addiction. Well, I'm really not addicted. Okay, so now you heard the meaning of what addiction is. Regular way, out on the streets or at home or whatever you want to call it. You heard it the doctor's way. Okay, what does opioid trigger? Let's talk about a little tiny bit of the scientific part of what opioids does to your body. So opioids trigger the release of endorphins. Your brain feels good, neural transmitters. Endorphins muffle your perception of pain, muffle it, okay, and boost feelings of pleasure, creating a temporary, that's the key word, temporary, but powerful sense of well-being. Okay, what happens when an opioid dose wears off? You may find yourself wanting those good feelings back as soon as possible. So this is the first milestone of the path toward potential addiction. You want that same feeling that you felt before. Now, these are, I'm talking to the ones that have prescription drugs written by a doctor. So now you know what happens when you want more. Okay, your doctor says use this amount every whatever hours. And they really, really have a tight lid on this particular drug because of what it caused and the potency of it. Short-term versus long-term effects. When you take opioids repeatedly over time, your body slows its production of endorphins. The same dose of opioids stop triggering such a strong flood of good feeling. This is called tolerance. So now your body is used to
it's building up a tolerance.
Right. So it's building up a tolerance. So that same dose that you used to take, it doesn't really work anymore. I need more. What do you mean you need more? Remember your doctor wrote, remember your doctor wrote a specific prescription and telling you how much to take. People who develop tolerance may feel driven to increase their doses. Not the doctor, you, okay? So they can keep feeling good. So if that's not a sign of addiction, I don't know what is. So let's stop right now here, because this will be a continuation, because I wanted to do a little bit more, the short term and long term, and how, you know, with this being an epidemic, what's your state after you go, when you decide to go longer than what the doctor has prescribed. There are consequences with this particular drug. And that is the reason why I remind you again, on April 27th, they put it on the calendar as a National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. And that's CVS partnered up with Aetna. They work together, where check out your local location, CVS, and see if there's a way you can actually return the drugs that are not used, because this particular one is not used properly. It is very dangerous, and you don't want your children or your family members or just yourself getting a hold of these drugs that's not good for you. Okay, so let's keep that in mind, and stay tuned for next week we'll finish up some more on these particular drugs, such as morphine and codeine and all those different drugs that I named. And which one is the illegal one, Pat?
Heroin.
Okay, you said that real quick.
I thought they all were.
Well, heroin is the illegal drug by the federal government in 1924. That's the made-up drug. We put our own concoction together. So 1920, even beyond synthetic heroin, we're going to talk about heroin.
Okay.
So in 1924, illegal. So I want to just bring that out. But all of us in our city, we know about it, and none of us use that, right?
Right.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
All right. So stay tuned next week.
All right. The Organic Path with Lorraine is brought to you by
Organic Supplements LLC.mywakaya. That's MYWAKAYA.com.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Vlard, on the open line. Had some great information from Ms. Vlard concerning opioids.
That's right.
You know,
Don't go out there and get all drugged up and become a junkie. Can't live your life. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Gotta
right.
stay focused. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Big
for real.
time.
Exactly.
It's something these pharmaceuticals, they've been busted pushing this stuff, man.
Did you hear about the 60 doctors that got busted for a drug ring that they had going on through the opioids?
Yeah.
See?
60 doctors.
Yeah.
These are doctors.
That's right.
Now, how much time you think they're going to get from this young boy selling a nickel on the street corner to a pharmaceutical doctor or a doctor that's helping a pharmaceutical company make money by writing these outrageous scripts, 900 Percocets for a patient?
You know, and that's where this thing with, you know, like I said, with the pharmaceuticals is coming in. That's where it's coming in. I'm telling you, it's really sickening. And that's why I say, you know, as far as these pharmaceuticals go, they ain't nothing but pushers. That's exactly what they are.
Pusher, do you hear that?
Yeah.
We're giving y'all some information right now. Listen to this song.
I was like, am I here right? And I'm sitting up here doing like this. Pusher.
They pushers. They get mad when we push.
Yeah.
Anyway, push back, push drugs, push love. Anything we push as a black, yo, if we got a problem with it, but they the real big giant pushers. You know what I mean?
Big time. Big time.
And that's crazy.
Yeah. Sherry Bryson said historically doctors operate on black people without anesthesia because of this belief.
Right, that black people are stronger and we can take pain and all this, man.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Because our tolerance
right.
is a little bit different. We don't say vent a lot. We don't exaggerate. You're killing me.
Right.
That's crazy.
Even though they be trying to too.
You know how like
right. They could be doing
something. You're killing me. It's gonna take me out.
Miss Gibbs.
WHGE 95.3 FM. Yeah, that was a pusher by Steppenwolf.
Yeah, the
What
pusher.
was he thinking at that time? Was he?
I mean, that's what they was doing back then.
Was he talking about politics?
No,
he wrote that song for real.
He was talking about the pusher.
Oh, so he was,
and about heroin addiction. Yeah, that's
back then when they had the music industry, their entertainment game. I meant like when you know, the slave era, and they wanted entertainment, and their entertainment, they would take the black entertainers and have them, whatever they may be, fighters, wrestlers, singers, or whatever, and they put them up against each other, and that'd be their entertainment. And when they put them up against each other, they'd tell them, here, sniff this bowl right here, or shoot this in his arm so he can be a better contestant. Yeah. And that's the way they was promoting and putting drugs in our community. So when you go home and you make love to your wife or whatever, you passing that drug through on, and that's the way it's like. It's messy. They got plans for us.
I'm telling you. Which brings me around to a little memory from last year. Y'all remember Kanye West's slavery choice statement that made a lot of us mad, and he was really roundly criticized for it, and rightly so. You know, however, there were some people who claimed to understand why he made the statement, and despite his inability to properly verbalize and express the nuances of his opinion, he was not off base. Are y'all crazy? These supporters point to the words of Killmonger from the movie Black Panther. Remember that? Bury me with my ancestors at sea, for they knew that death was better than bondage. Yeah, that sounds real good, you know, and that sounds hard, tough, and even heroic to many of us. Here's the thing. Those who chose death over bondage left no descendants. All black people living in America are the descendants of those that chose to endure the bondage. That does not mean they chose to accept it. There were runaways and plantation sabotage. There were those who poisoned slave masters. Mammies and house slaves were not always the villainous coon depicted in movies, but were often the front line protection for the plantation slave population, many times providing supplies and paperwork for runaways. Choosing to endure in no way meant to accept slavery. From Nat Turner's revolt well into the Civil War, there were over 200 slave revolts. Yes, the African in bondage did make a choice. It is a choice we as a people are still fighting to achieve. We chose freedom from global white supremacy. For those who claim to understand what Kanye West was trying to say, you're rationalizing. Kanye West was speaking from a place of ignorance, and you just can't rationalize ignorance. I'm Pat Gibbs.
Nsoromma, Miss Vlard. Vlard. I mean, I say it all kind of ways.
Like saying my name.
Yeah,
I like my French last name.
No, because I always go hard instead of hard. Because that's the New York in me.
By being French, and no matter how you say it, it's cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Another fast hour, y'all. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let me get that in there. As I always tell you, the WHGE 95.3 FM has a full schedule of programming. Today, a new show will premiere on WHGE 95.3 FM. Voices of Delaware Africa Coalition starts today at 1 p.m. It will come to you on the 2nd and 4th Saturdays at 1 p.m. Don't miss it. Yeah, from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. The host of this special show about the motherland is Dr. Kalichi Lawrence, right here on WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yaga!
All right. Yeah. A glass that is full cannot hold more water. It must be empty first. Understand what that means. That means deal with the past. Destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. I'm Pat Gibbs. This is the Open Eye. Coming around to your show. Broke my photos here. Excuse me, Facebook Live. All right. Stick with us. We still got more coming up.
Healthy snacks. Right, Pat?
Yes, ma'am.
Blackberries and grapes.
All right. All the time.
Sorry, y'all. Just need a little quick snack.
It's all right. It's all good. Let me get this.
We are human behind this.
Behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta do what we gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all just hang in there.
Blow your nose. And
You know, snacks. It's all good.
healthy snacks.
Yeah. That lets you know we keeping it real around here. You
That's
feel me?
right.
Yeah.
I really do like healthy snacks.
That's why your segment is called The Organic Path with Lorrine. Yeah.
Now I have my little vices.
Yeah. Okay. That's all right.
Sherry and Dorothy and Mispa.
Mispa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Hope y'all hanging in there. Got the rain segment coming up. All right, here we go. WHGE 95.3 FM. It is now time for Lorrine with facts on smoking.
Good job.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Good job.
Here we go. Ms. Vlard.
Hello, everyone. And happy Mother's Day again to this part, opening up again. And I am happy to be speaking to everyone today, but I wanted to honor mothers today again, and also on our Facebook Live friends and family. So today, you know, I beat up so many smokers and talked about different types of smoking so much. But wait, I got to do my traditional. What is it, Pat? 1 pack a day.
1 pack a day
365 days a year
equals 7,300 cigarettes a year.
Okay, and how much is that on the low end? The $8.
That's $8. It's like $2,960.
How did? Wow.
Yeah.
Is that how much you spend?
I guess so.
Oh, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Ask how much I spend.
And that's a cheap cigarette, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's on the low.
I don't know. Newports are a premium brand, but you know it depends. The cost depends on what you get. They do have cheap cigarettes.
But in reality, $7.50 and $8 is not bad, right?
Not bad.
Considering other states.
Other states, New York pack of cigarettes I think are $15 a pack.
Okay, so do the math. You heard it not from me. You heard it from someone that is trying to stop. And I think he cut back. How many out of that pack? I think he cut back, right?
I cut back some. I'm not sure how many. I cut back some. Thank you.
Well, your homework assignment, please add it up so we will know the truth.
I'm working on it.
The truth.
Yeah.
So who wants to challenge themselves and post what you used to smoke, because I've been talking about smoking cigarettes and the effects of it for quite some time. The first time I did 6 segments, and now this is a second set of 6 segments. So we're talking about almost 12 weeks.
Wow. Whoa.
Because it's that important. So by the owner asked me to do it, and I'm doing it again. But today I want to talk about side stream smoke. No, secondhand. Yes. Secondhand smoke. So however you remember it or know, it's called side stream smoke and also secondhand smoke. That's for people like me that is allergic to smoke. And I share it with you all. You know, you've been through it with me with the sniffles and the excuse me a minute. Every other second I had to, you know, take care of my nose here because the allergies are so severe. So what I want to do is really talk. This one, I thought it would be just one segment, but it's a lot to this. So I want to talk a little bit to the smokers, but also share with the smokers in a very nice way how you affect us who don't smoke. It's really real. People that don't smoke and they allergic. And remember, I said some of the symptoms are like the runny eyes, runny nose. That means that it's very possible that you are allergic to smoke. What about the ones with the runny eyes and a runny nose that do smoke? Are you just ignoring your allergies?
I guess so. That addiction is strong, man.
And the coughing and wheezing.
Yeah.
How is it? So what I never understood, I think most of you know, I shared with you that as soon as I came out of the military, one of my first jobs, major jobs, was working at a cancer treatment center of America out in the Midwest. And I was just amazed that, okay, you have an O2 tank and you're outside.
An O2 tank?
Yes.
What's an O2 tank?
Oxygen.
Oh, an oxygen tank. Okay.
And you have an O2 tank, drag that tank, could barely breathe, could barely walk, and carrying that tank in the wheelchair outside smoking at the hospital doors.
I said that addiction is strong, man. Okay. That's something else. You know?
The O2 tank carrying you.
Yeah, isn't that flammable? Like, you know, you can blow yourself up trying to get a smoke. Jeez,
yeah, so I
hope I never get to that point, but if I were to get to that point, I hope that I would have sense enough not to be carrying around an O2 tank and sparking flames.
Well, it's really real. I've witnessed this. I've seen it right before my own eyes. But nevertheless, it does exist. So let's jump right into it. Side stream, sorry, I'm a little bit excited here. Side stream smoke can be a form of secondhand smoke. And what that means is inhaling side stream smoke when someone else is smoking, of course, and you're inhaling this, okay? But this increases the risk of lung cancer and may increase the risk of other types of cancer. Now, a lot of people ask questions is, which one is worse, mainstream or side stream? Well, let me tell you my opinion, and we'll get into it a little bit more. It's all bad. But when you see the side stream effects, hopefully it'll make the ones that do smoke a little bit more self-conscious of those that don't. And I must say, Pat is very, very mindful and thoughtful of his smoke in his lungs. So he's very thoughtful. Now, I don't excuse it.
Okay.
Don't get too happy because it's not like I excuse this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, but I am. I try to be, you know, conscientious and, you know, respect people that don't smoke. So, you know, my habit doesn't affect them. So, if, you know, I'm out there smoking and there's a lot of smoke around, you know, I stand far back from them, or, you know, like sometimes I might be on the bus stop or on the corner and somebody, you know, that doesn't smoke, well, you know, I try to give them their space so that, you know, my habit doesn't affect them. And that's, you know, that's what I do.
Right. And yes, I must say, so what I don't understand, and I'm trying to get to this segment here, but I just have to ask a question, people that do smoke and maybe can answer. And our Facebook Live friends, if you want to post something, please help me out, because this part I never understood. You smoke, you're blowing the smoke in my face, the dragon smoke, literally. And why are you offended if I say, excuse me, can you please turn that in a different direction?
That's a good question. That is a good question, because I have seen people, you know, get upset, like, you know, you're invading in their space, when actually, you know, as a smoker, you're invading the non-smokers, you know, the non-smokers space.
Right, because I came here, one, I was here first. Two, there really is a sign posted, if you can read it right there, that says, no smoking in red. Why do you have an attitude? I never understood that.
That's a good question. Well, you know, I guess it's just, you know, lack of courtesy. That's the only thing I could, you know, chalk it up to, right? And not understanding how the secondhand smoke affects a non-smoker.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that and talk about it scientifically, what happens to individuals that accept and receive, well, not accept, but receive secondhand smoke. Okay. We're going to talk about it. So this is what your loved ones, friends, associate, coworkers, colleagues are going through when you choose to smoke, and this is what they are experiencing. Okay, side stream smoke that comes from the lighted end of a burning tobacco product, such as cigarette, pipe, or cigars. Side stream smoke can be a form of secondhand smoke. So they're just using both, because some, you know, just some know it as side stream, some know it as secondhand. Just so you'll know, they're both pretty much the same. All right, it contains nicotine and many harmful cancer-causing chemicals. Inhaling side stream smoke increases the risk of lung cancer and may increase the risk of other types of cancer, other health problems such as heart disease and lung disease. This is side stream. Not talking about you as an actual smoker.
No.
Okay.
These are what can happen to non-smokers that
exactly
are exposed to smoke.
So a lot of people ask, excuse me, so how is it that my mother or my father or my brother or sister never smoked? How did they get lung cancer?
Side stream smoke, secondhand smoke.
Some, yeah, it's noted. So how is secondhand smoke exposure measured? The secondhand, the side stream. This can be measured by testing for breathable suspended particles small enough to reach the lower lobes. Okay, those are particles in your airways of the human lung. Okay, that's how that side stream, enough of that can enter into the lower part of my lungs as I'm breathing. Okay, this can also be measured by the level of biomarkers such as cantonine, a byproduct of nicotine metabolism in a non-smoker's blood. Blood. Okay, you heard right. Blood, saliva, or even urine.
Wow.
This passes through the body from the inhalation. Okay, and you remember how sick I was trying to fight off from the allergies. Just, I don't know, I think it was in April, early April or the end of March. Just, I don't know if a lot of people decided to smoke that day or it just took me a long time to get over the allergies of it. So can you believe it? Nicotine can be found in body fluids of non-smokers exposed to second-hand smoke.
Wow.
So we're going to pause right there for a little bit. And Pat, if you can please just make the announcement of who else our listeners can listen to.
I sure will. Right here on WHGE 95.3 FM. We have on Fridays, well, let me go back, on Thursdays, because the last time I announced something was Bonnie Williams with Real Love, which will be on Wednesdays from 5 to 6. On Thursdays, we have Healthy Kids Don't Smoke, okay? And that's at 4 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. with Ebony Zadia. On Fridays, we have the Linwood Jackson Show from 5 to 6. And, of course, after his show will be our illustrious leader, Mr. Harmon Terry, with Black History Facts and Reflections, which is a daily show. Friday nights at 7 p.m., following Black History Facts and Reflections, is Raheem Darden with Stop Smoking, No Joking. Listen, let me tell you something, and this is coming from a smoker. Here at WHGE 95.3, they have declared war on smoking. And now,
oh, every time you turn.
Yeah, every time you turn. Now, back to Lorrine. Facts on smoking.
All right. Thank you, Pat, for
You're
making
welcome.
the announcements of what our listeners can expect to come also in the very near future and keeping them abreast with our schedule. So now we were talking about secondhand smoking, side stream, people that don't smoke. Think about your children. Think about your grandchildren, your loved ones that you don't even want to even start smoking.
Right.
So you have to think about these things. I mean, there are some people, granted, I do appreciate the effort. There are some people, there's a rule in the home. You cannot smoke in the house.
Right.
You just can't do it. So I'm sorry you get that urge 2 o'clock in the morning, but I'm sorry. You gotta go outside.
Yeah.
You cannot smoke inside. That's the price, you pay. So I do commend those that have that respect for those that don't. But the thing of it is, it travels in your clothes. It lingers, right?
Yeah.
It lingers. So even if you go outside, that smoke is still getting in your clothes and in your pores, and it's just a lot. So just think about your loved ones. So let's continue on a little bit more.
Okay.
Now, here's a question. Does second-hand smoke contain harmful chemicals? You all know that I love to tell you what's involved, ingredients, what makes whatever we're talking about. I love that part. We can't ignore that because you need to know what's in it. So believe it or not, I did find some things that's included in what makes it harmful, these harmful chemicals. And yes, there are many, but I'm going to talk about just a little bit because some of them, I cannot pronounce. They're long and it's some harsh chemicals in it. So the first one I want to talk about is benzene. Okay? Benzene, which one word is benzoate pyrene. Okay, that's a chemical that's found in the secondhand smoke. Pyrene, cadmium, that's a toxic metal. Okay? Formaldehyde, we already know that's in there.
Yeah.
And a hazardous gas and more. Some of the words are so long and lengthy, I dare not try because the pronunciation is very long and I want to get it right. But there's many different harmful chemicals in the secondhand smoke. Now, many factors affect which chemicals and how much of them are found in secondhand smoke. These factors include the type of tobacco used in manufacturing a specific product. Now check this part out. When I saw this, I said, oh, wow. Okay, the chemicals including flavorings such as menthol added to the tobacco, the way the tobacco product is smoked, and for cigarettes, cigars, little cigars, and cigarillos. Okay, the material in which the tobacco is wrapped. So that wrap that we all see, and some taking their tongue and sliding across their tongue across this paper. How do you think they make that particular paper?
It's made the same way as the tobacco. Well, it is tobacco.
Well, listen to this. When paper is lit, have you ever seen paper on fire?
Yeah, it burns right up.
What's going on with that paper?
That paper wrapped around that it doesn't burn up.
How come it doesn't?
Yeah, how about that? I didn't think about that.
Am I right?
Yeah.
So you follow me with that?
Yeah,
because I don't want anyone to get any ideas. But think about it. So the very wrap, that material, what do they put in that?
To make it burn slowly. So they put fire retardant chemicals in there
to keep it from, I guess,
from just burning right up
and
burning slow.
The one that's holding this thing between their two fingers.
Yeah. Wow. That's
think about it.
It's a lot of dangerous.
All right, our Facebook Live friends, if you have any comments, I can see your comments. Please tune in. Some questions. Have you ever thought about that? I know Pat and I, we probably will see some out on the streets, and they'll probably have some questions to ask us and everything, because we get it when we leave. But have you ever really thought about that? What makes a cigarette burn when paper really, once it's ignited with a lighter, how come that burns up and just whatever is in its way, it burns?
Right. Yeah, paper burns fast.
Not a cigarette. It's in the paper, the material.
Wow.
So therefore, again, more chemicals.
And I want to give a shout out to Sharonda Harris, who joined us on Facebook Live.
Hi, Sharonda. I think she was on with us last week, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Sharonda. Yeah, great.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks for joining us. So, I just when I saw that part, I was like, well, what is it made of?
Yeah, what is it made of?
So a little bit more research. I just know it's got to be something potent, because for you to light it and be able to smoke it as long as, how long does a cigarette last? Like like if you're smoking it without putting it out up on walls and damaging
your environment and what have you.
That's enough. I need a power wash on the building. Between the stones.
It takes about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to smoke a cigarette. It depends on how you smoke. You know, some people puff until it's gone.
Until they look like a dragon.
Yeah, I don't even ask you all that, but
well, just asking questions. Just asking questions. So next week, I really want to focus a little bit more on this. I want to stay on this subject.
Secondhand smoke.
So can we just go to a commercial, and I want to let the listeners know exactly what I want to focus on in helping our secondhand or side stream smoke that we come in contact with. So I think that'll be quite interesting.
We'll be right back.
Thanks, I started to give it away.
Okay.
All right, everyone. I'm going to change gears a little bit. I always want to have something very interesting for you, since Pat did me such great justice by letting you know I am a business owner of Organic Supplements LLC, .mywakaya.com. But today, you know, since it's summertime, I want to share with you what product I have.
All right.
So I have, can you hold it up for me, please? I have the other way.
The other way?
Yeah,
Okay.
this way.
Okay, here you go.
The top.
Oh, the top.
Yeah, please. Okay, so this right here is Bula Fit. It's a trial pack, and that's for everyone that wants to lose weight and be nice for the summer. And now, of course, I want you to be nice for more than just the summer, all year round. But this right here is so delicious. It has cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, all the good herbs, but it really tastes good too. And it clears out the gut, and the digestive system, so that you maybe can help with that pouch. No one wants a kangaroo pouch, right?
That's right.
Thanks, Pat.
All right.
No one wants a kangaroo pouch. And not only that, you're not on your own. We have, okay, Pat will hold that up for me. So this is our renowned Bula Fit trainer leader, Owen McKibben, and Christy. She's a model. She was a model, and we literally work out, and it is excellent. I know them and work out with them when I go to Vegas, and we have, if I can do this real quick. Okay. All right. We have very good recipes as well. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome. WHGE 95.3 FM. And now Lorraine will close out tobacco or smoking facts with Lorraine.
Yeah, it's all the same. You said it right. I guess because I talked about it so much. Tobacco, tar, snuff.
Yeah.
But today I'm talking mainly to the innocent ones that unfortunately inhale this. You know, God has given us, you know, air to breathe. And we don't want to taint that with the fumes. We have enough here. And unfortunately, right here in the city of Wilmington, Delaware, we have the highest rate, I believe, of, you know, our air. The polluted air. And yes, that's correct, right?
Yeah.
This is noted. I don't have the actual paper on me, but it is noted that our air is already polluted enough, and we don't want to add to it. So today I wanted to address the innocent ones that breathe in the secondhand, the side stream smoke. So in the future to come, real soon, hopefully you will join me next week, I will be talking about specifically one question is, does secondhand smoke cause cancer, or can it? And what are the other health effects? And this one right here hopefully will help a lot of us. How can you protect yourself? How can you protect yourself from the secondhand side stream smoke? So that's what I want to focus on next week. And so I hope you will join Pat and I as we continue this journey of smoking leading to non-smoking. But I wanted to share with you in closing, if you notice, I've never told any of you to stop smoking. That is not my vice. That is not something I struggle with. I shared with you many, many times, I struggle. The allergies are real for me because I am allergic to it. It does something to my breathing. It does something to my eyes, the whole 9 yards, because that's my allergy. But I just want to give you the facts. So that's why I share with you the facts. I mean, there's some of you out there, I know you want to stop and hopefully just the price that you pay yearly. I'm telling you, I could do a whole lot with $2,920.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you.
So please hit Pat and I up, whether it be on Facebook Live. If you just stop one cigarette out of that pack, please let us know so we can ship, be happy for you. Or if you find yourself cutting back, that's a good start. So even by one, and then hopefully that one will increase to two, and then two to a half a pack, and then a half a pack to a whole pack. So that's the goal. That's what I'm reaching for, and that's why I share one about the facts of smoking.
All right. Thank you, Lorraine, on WHGE 95.3 FM.
Thank you. So see you all next week, Facebook friends. We love you all, and thank you for joining us.
All right.
More to come.
And tune in on my watching party if you didn't catch the whole show.
Yes. Pat is very loyal to this. He loves it when he see you all posting.
All right.